The Thunderbolts movie has been revealed as one of the best of the year, but the film also hides many interesting secrets. For example, near the end, many people turn into shadows, and this detail has a rather dark context related to a real-life tragedy. I'll tell you all about it here. Today on Charlietales, we'll go over all the secrets of the movie. Ready? Let's begin. In the final battle, the villain, the Void, showed us a rather dark power by turning innocent people into shadows. According to the film's director, Jake Schreier, this idea came from real life. Specifically, we're talking about the cruel bombing of Hiroshima in 1945. After the bombs fell, the streets were marked with black stains similar to shadows. These stains were formed by the enormous heat of the explosion on the victims. The film's director wanted to include this macabre reference in his story. When Valentina introduces us to Sentry, she describes him as the mightiest hero on Earth. This is a reference to the classic nickname of the Avengers, which we've seen in dozens of comics and shows. They've always been Earth's mightiest heroes. At the beginning of the movie, the protagonists are trapped in a booby-trapped room. To escape, they must destroy a sonic device. Yelena finds the power source of the device and wants to disable it, but Walker interrupts her to destroy it with a punch. Here Walker says the phrase, "on your left." This is a popular phrase in the MCU. Captain America said it many times when he met Sam Wilson. When Bucky rescues the team, we see him appear on a motorcycle and wearing dark glasses. This is a clear reference to Terminator, the legendary film by James Cameron. In fact, at one point, Bucky reloads a shotgun in the same way the T-800 did in Terminator 2. The film introduces us to Valentina's assistant, whose name is Mel. This woman appears to be an adaptation of Melissa Gold, a rather powerful comic book character who belonged to the Thunderbolts. She is known as Songbird and has the power to create solid constructs with her voice. In the film, Mel doesn't show any sign of these abilities. However, around her neck we can see a necklace with a bird, which is a clear reference to her comic version. The movie begins with a scene of Yelena fighting against some guards. If we look closely, the lighting makes the shadows look gigantic. It gives the impression that Yelena is fighting against shadows. This seems to be a prediction of the end of the movie, where the dark version of Sentry will turn people into shadows. From the beginning, the story shows us that the battle is against darkness, and these shadows represent the inner demons of each person. In several scenes when they talk about Sentry, the characters refer to him as Invincible. This seems to be a reference to the popular animated series of the same name. The reference was interesting, because originally Sentry was going to be played by Steven Yeun, who also voices the protagonist of the animation. However, the Korean actor was not able to complete the filming of Thunderbolts, and was replaced by Louis Pullman. But it seems the script kept these references. Since the film's promotion began, many noticed that the name Thunderbolts was always written with an asterisk at the end. That raised questions among fans. What did the asterisk mean? Now we have the answer. On the internet, the asterisk is usually used in a word that needs to be corrected. And in the case of the Thunderbolts, the idea fits. At the end of the movie, we see how this name is replaced by that of the new Avengers. The asterisk meant that the name needed to be corrected, and in the end, it was. When the protagonists are trapped in the elevator shaft, they come up with the idea of getting out by supporting each other. If we pay attention, we'll notice that the characters' legs form an asterisk. This is another reference to the asterisk that has been constantly used in the movie's promotional materials. Many fans noticed that Sentry's suit looked quite artificial and even fake, which contrasts with the suits of other characters that do look realistic. This was done on purpose. In the story, Valentina created Sentry as an artificial hero, a corporate product for the press, so the movie production designed a suit that connects with that idea. Sentry as a hero is sold as someone colorful, blonde, and who represents artificial perfection. When Bucky fights against Sentry, we see him execute an epic move. He drops the knife with one hand and catches it with the other to keep attacking. This is a classic technique he used against Steve when he was the Winter Soldier. When Sentry rebels against Valentina, he mentions that he considers himself a god since he is stronger than the Avengers, and among them, there is at least one god. Robert is clearly referring to Thor, who was the only god in the original Avengers team. At the beginning of the movie, we have an epic scene of Yelena fighting guards in a hallway. The scene is recorded in a single take without cuts, which seems to be a reference to the classic movie Oldboy. In it, there was also a hallway fight filmed in the same way. Everything was shot without cuts. The Oldboy scene has been referenced in hundreds of movies, but in Thunderbolts, they added an interesting difference by recording everything from above. When Bucky rescues our protagonists, we see him use a grenade launcher rifle. This is the same weapon he used in the Winter Soldier movie from 2014. At that time, he used it to destroy Nick Fury's car. It's an ideal weapon for eliminating vehicles. Red Guardian shares some fun scenes with Bucky. We see them driving together toward Valentina's tower, and they have a certain connection, since they are both super soldiers. This seems to be a reference to an episode of the What If series. In it, we were told what would happen if Red Guardian stopped Bucky from assassinating Tony Stark's parents. The episode is an adventure of two super soldiers who are more alike than they think. In Thunderbolts, we are in a different universe, but it's clear that the connection between them is a canon event. When the villain the Void appears in the sky, the Thunderbolts team stares at him in astonishment. This image looks a lot like the iconic Avengers scene from 2012. The positions are similar, but the contexts are different. In the Avengers, the scene represented the superiority of the heroes. In Thunderbolts, the protagonists are shown injured, imperfect, and inferior in front of the god they are facing. This is the message of the movie. The Thunderbolts are not like the Avengers. They are damaged and weak people facing an infinitely superior threat. Valentina and the Thunderbolts have a conversation in the old Stark Tower. Here we see Valentina confidently drinking a glass. This is a clear reference to the 2012 Avengers movie. I'm referring to the iconic scene where Tony confronts Loki while drinking a glass. The idea in both cases is the same: a normal human standing in front of a superior opponent. At the end of the movie, Valentina tricks the protagonists into posing in front of the cameras as her new team of heroes. But this idea didn't come to her suddenly. She planned it in advance. Shortly before the end, there is a scene where the team saves a woman who is about to be crushed. This caused applause from the witnesses, and for a few seconds, Valentina stared at the heroes. That's when the idea came to her. That's why at the end, when they look for her, Valentina had already prepared everything to deceive them. When the Thunderbolts arrive at Valentina's tower, she sees Red Guardian and asks, "Who's this old Santa?" This seems to be a reference to the 2022 movie Violent Night. It was starred by David Harbour, who played a rather violent old Santa Claus. The post-credit scene shows us a huge spaceship entering Earth. It has the number 4 clearly visible, so it belongs to the Fantastic Four, who will release their movie very soon. This scene is an important spoiler, as it tells us that the Fantastic Four will leave their universe at the end of their movie. Let's remember that this story will be set in an alternate universe. Many fans have even theorized that they will lose the battle against Galactus, and their universe will be destroyed, so they will have to escape to the main timeline. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.